And we're live, but
Nice.
yeah, I don't know. It's just different. I can do the same type of thing or get people on, but say whatever the fuck I want and
You're right.
not have to worry about anything or whatever. Not like I have to worry
No,
about
no,
things
no,
anyway,
no.
but
Yeah, you get to choose who you want and who you don't want on.
yeah, exactly. So, dude, have you seen this? I want to show you. I want to start with open this episode with this video. Have you heard of Mr. 490? He's a Damon Smith
No.
Supercross, or like he was like a Supercross junior. So I found out about him through Alex. He talks about him.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh
but
no.
so basically, well, from what I understand is, he was basically like a junior level, like C class, like a local rider. Like he would be that like skill level or riding level,
Uh-huh.
and he went to all of the AMA. Like this is back in the day. I don't know exactly how it works, but you could get your pro license a different way now, or like it's harder now. Like you have to do futures and all, and you have to win and do
Yeah.
hard stuff. But like he would just go to every race and get like 1 point at a time by
Uh-huh.
getting last or whatever it is. Get 1 point at a time, 1 point at a time until he got his AMA pro license, and then he raced Supercross for I don't know a year or something. Uh, Anywho, now we just have to watch this video of this guy who filmed him, and it's hilarious. So watch this and tell me if you can hear the audio. You should be able to.
Yeah, I can hear.
Could you hear
Yeah.
that? Okay. Just
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
watch this. It's maybe. What? Why is it doing this? Come on. Okay, we go.
Oh, there we go.
All right.
Wait, where's the video? What the hell? I've never had this happen before.
Oh no.
Let's try again.
There we go.
Maybe. Then it cuts out. No, this is ruining it. It's so good. I'm gonna let it buffer for a
Oh
second.
yeah, look at it. You can see like
You can see right when I'm scrubbing here. You can see the
Uh-huh.
freaking thing.
All right.
Oh, here we go.
Here comes our boy, number 490. Definitely wins the Courage Award. Stuff like that. Unbelievable.
Oh.
The bar tweak is really just a thing of beauty for this guy. No doubling through the whoops. It's probably not faster. Just slow and steady.
Hey God.
This guy
This
embodies
is just
the
like
story of the tortoise and the
practice
hare.
qualifying.
Yeah, and the commentary is just
He's
gold.
got the step on. No step off yet. We're not trying to get fancy, okay? Coming into the last turn.
You can hear the guy talking, right?
He really
Oh,
knows
yeah,
what
yeah,
it means
yeah.
to
Okay,
stay
okay.
low, not clearing the finish line.
A lot
I mean,
better
if
than I
ever
could
there was
have
a
ever
rider
done.
that
Oh, for
I
sure.
wanted to put
Yeah,
the
100%.
Road Class name behind, it's this guy, number 490. I don't even know his name, but he is a real champion. He hasn't done this triple yet. We're waiting for it.
It'll come back.
All right, and we're back. That was cool. Oh, and he goes down. He's okay, though. This guy's a real trooper. I mean, if you're going to fall, you might as well fall in the comfy sand, right? People pay good money to lay in sand.
Oh, that's good.
Does he go for the triple now, though? I kind of doubt it, but no, doesn't look like it. I think we're just going to roll through everything, get a good feel for
Just
it.
roll through
I mean,
everything.
we've
Just
only
roll
had like
everything.
40 laps on the track. Still getting to know it.
You know what? I've
Nice
seen
and
this
easy
guy.
through the whoops. Super
Damon
smooth,
Smith is
though.
his name.
Yeah.
Cannot
Mr.
touch
Swagger
that
490
style.
is his nickname,
Uh-huh.
or like his
Who is
Instagram
Kevin
name.
Windham?
Oh, that's
Oh my
good.
god! So I just remember Alex talking about him, and then he told me to watch that video like a couple years ago, or talked about it on the show.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk about Supercross tonight too, and I was like, oh my god, that's
For
like
sure.
that's so fucking funny. Just obviously he's like better than most people, but it's just he's so
Oh, yeah.
he's so squirrely. It's so
Last
funny.
place in a Supercross race is better than like any local pro, like
Yeah, exactly.
that I grew up racing with, or who are around racing today.
And
you know,
still
in
hitting
this
big
area.
jumps too, right?
Yeah.
But just like so squirrely, and that guy's commentary is just fucking gold. Like
Yeah, that's funny.
we're just gonna roll everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mr. 490, he's funny. So, all right, now that we're in the show, let's tell the people listeners about yourself just a little bit. You don't have to go super in like when you were born or whatever, but like What do you do? I don't know, anything you want to share with like kind of about
Yeah,
you?
let's. I don't know. I think let's talk about my journey in CrossFit because it's been a long time. I've been
Sure.
at this since I got introduced to CrossFit in 2009. So I've been doing it quite a long time now. 2009, it was my freshman year up at UNR, and I freshman year was going to the Lombardi, the gym there. That was Lombardi then. It's not Lombardi anymore, but or they don't use that as the gym anymore. But Lombardi, it was the I had been going to the gym every single day and whatever. I've always been into working out and the gym manager that ran it, his name was Johnny. He and I just started becoming friends. I talked to him every time I'd come into the gym. We'd chit chat and small talk and whatever. And then he got me. He told me about this new in 2009. CrossFit was absolutely nothing, and he just told me about this. This new type of working out called CrossFit, and I think you'd really be good at it because you look like you're a fit guy. And the first workout I ever did, he had me do Cindy, 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, 15 air squats for 20 minutes. And he's like, just do that and just see how you do and let me know. Let me know how you like it. And I remember doing it. I didn't know I was doing 5 strict pull-ups and push-ups and I don't remember how I did, but ever since that day, every day he'd have me do like some new type of workout, and then it was and so it was slowly like getting me like into this CrossFit. I didn't have any shoes. There was nothing back then for CrossFit. Then in one of my new semesters, it was my second semester as a freshman, I signed up for what was called part of my major. We had to do these 1 credit classes called PEX credits, and I signed up for this class called General Physical Fitness. And I remember walking in the first day. It was like 8 a.m. first thing in the morning, going there, General Physical Fitness. Like, I can do this. I don't know what General Physical Fitness is. And I go in there the first day, and I remember the teacher was supposed to be. I think her name was Allie or something. And I go in there, and it's this guy that's in the front of class. I'm like, that doesn't look like an Allie. And everyone's is standing there, and we're like, and he's like, guys, this class is no longer called General Physical Fitness. It is now called CrossFit. And some of you may know about CrossFit, some of you may not. And I had already prior like done like a half a dozen or a dozen workouts prior to this, and I'm like, oh my god, like look at this. And the coach was named Drew Canavero, and I don't know where he is today, but he is part of because he was such a good coach. He's part of why I'm still at it today, because I had such a good time and so much support from him when I was 19 years old, and I'm 33 now, and when so I think those classes were 2 or 3 times a week. And I mean, when we first started doing this, I can't, all we were doing is jumping pull-ups. And I mean, Lombardi didn't even have anything for CrossFit. Like we had this rig that we would do pull-ups on, but we would be in the basketball courts, and the indoor basketball courts in Lombardi. Some people out there might know this, some people may not, but and we would take this rig that was not mounted to the ground to do our pull-ups in, and that we would move it out to the middle of the basketball courts and put rubber floor mats down so it wouldn't like mark up the floor. And you've seen the rig at Double Edge, how much that shakes, like doing pull-ups and stuff and toast bar and whatever. Yeah. Like this rig would move. The thing is so like, that's all we had. No, they didn't have a dedicated CrossFit area, and but we made it work, and we just put mats down everywhere when we would lift, and I mean, that's where I met so many people that are still doing CrossFit today, like Alv, that used to be at the gym, and all those guys. I think they're all at, like, a lot of them are at upstate Nevada now, and I've been working out with them since again, '09, and we and after I was doing that credit class, I just was hooked, and then they started implementing a class just like we have at Double Edge, or at any CrossFit gym. You could go to those certain dedicated hours, and that was just my thing. I would go every single day, and my first year in CrossFit, they wanted me to compete. We put together a team, and there was actually before the Open years ago, it used to be called the CrossFit Sectionals. So Sectionals was we put together a team from UNR, and I thought it was so super cool that, like, oh, they wanted me to do this. I had never been, like, chosen to do, like, I always raced dirt bikes and did, like, individual sports. I never did, like, a team thing growing up, and I thought it was pretty neat that
That's badass. Yeah.
I caught on to CrossFit pretty well, early on. I was I was strong, I was fit, I got it down pretty good. But we did this thing called CrossFit Sectionals, and that was in Utah. And I remember we would train at CrossFit Initiative. They're still around today.
Yeah, still there.
CrossFit Initiative. It was after hours. We'd go there from, like, I think it was like a couple hours a day. It was like from 8 to 10 at night, and we'd work out and train. And Drew, who was my coach for that PEX credit class, he was our coach for our team that we put together. And I remember just training, doing that, and going to I'm like months into this, and we're going to CrossFit Sectionals in Ogden, Utah, I remember. And I remember just going out there and, like, what the hell am I doing? Like, CrossFit had been a few years into it at this time. I don't remember exactly, like, when CrossFit started as a doing these sectionals or whatever. But I remember us showing up and just like, oh my God, these guys, and they're still at it today. Like, I remember one of the guys that was working out, Tommy Hackenbrook. He is a teams games
athlete, coach, right?
Teams coach now, but
yeah,
I'm like working out next to Tommy Hackenbrook, and this guy's just this monster, and just being so out of my element, because I've never, like, really competed against, like, people who are good then and, like, and what they are today, and most of those guys are still working out today, but they're, like, games level athletes now. Miranda Oldroyd, I think her name is I think she runs a podcast called not podcast, but Street Parking, whatever that.
Oh yeah. Miranda? Did you know her or worked out with her?
Her and her husband worked out.
Julian's his name.
They were back at sectionals. I remember, like, looking at these guys, like, they're like in the girl, she's in the girls division, just like, oh my God, they're so amazing, and I'm just this, like, average Joe guy. What are we doing, all, like, putting together? And again, this was the Open back in 2009 when I started this, and they would take you'd have to finish in the the top whatever. I don't remember how many spots you needed to finish, but again, like, I remember we had to learn double unders, and, like, I see people, like, working on double unders today, and, like, how difficult that was for me back then, because everybody that I was working out with there got double unders, like, immediately. They had never done, but we never had, like, speed ropes back in 2009, or like the double under ropes today, with bearings and everything in them to make them super easy. We just had, like, we'd go to Walmart and just buy a jump rope, whatever they had in, like, in the workout area, and that's what we used. And I remember trying it, and I couldn't do it. I remember in the workouts, like, I was so defeated because I'm like, I can't do double unders, and I knew I could do everything else, but then it got to double unders, and I just couldn't get that rhythm down. And also the other, I don't remember the other movement that was so just foreign to me was muscle ups, ring muscle ups. I'd never done it before in my life, and like that's what I love today is watching, like knowing the struggles that I went through when I was brand new at this, and thinking like I was good, and like but getting humbled too with such these mundane, simple movements. What might look like today, like we do all the time. We do double unders all the time. Muscle ups, maybe not so, but still, they're a very difficult movement. At least they were for me. And I remember after the sectionals coming back, just getting, thought I did decent for, brand new. But I remember just being so nervous going into those, going into competing at sectionals, because I had never been in any type of a situation like that before. I'd grown up dirt bike racing, but it's just different. I was confident in my dirt bike racing. I knew where I stood. But in CrossFit, I didn't really know where I was, I knew where I stood in the gym, but when you started competing against other people, it was like, oh man. And coming back from sectionals, I remember I knew all my weaknesses. I knew I could do everything decently well. But back at the time, again, double unders were brand new. Nobody, like, they were the brand new movement of the time. And just practicing. And that's why I just, people that are struggling with double unders today at the gym, I always like, the best thing that you can do is just practice a little bit every day. And that's what I did for, weeks after. And it took me weeks and probably even months to finally hone those skills, and finally, broke a couple of broke a couple of ropes over the journey of learning double unders. And muscle ups have always been a struggle, and they're definitely not my forte today, but I can do them now. But and that that's kind of concluding sectionals, and like that leading up after that. But and then Lombardi started really putting focus into creating a CrossFit area of their gym. And then that's when they built out an area. They did some renovation to Lombardi, and then they did a dedicated CrossFit area. And again, ever since then, was doing it 5 days a week. And I was think I was doing 6 days a week back in college, and going on Saturdays. And however many years later, it's my life, I love
right,
it.
yeah.
I was dirt bike racing then. I was a pretty successful dirt bike racer, off-road desert racer. Raced in the expert class in Moran, the local desert race series, and have a championship in the 250 expert class, during my college career and while I was CrossFitting. And I was using CrossFit as cross training for my dirt bike racing.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. Did you think that it would help? It helped you?
It
Racing?
100% did. So I'll never forget when I was racing during that time, and they were like, what are you doing different? I was getting questions after the race, like, because I'd be done with the race and be like, not that tired. And I'd be like, CrossFit's the only thing I've changed in my life, doing it more, because I had been racing since I was 9 years old. And when I was 19, when I started CrossFit, doing this much as I was, that was the only thing I was always doing exercising growing up, and that was always a natural athlete. But the only thing changing in college was, again, CrossFit, and my racing went way better, because in desert racing, our races would be anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, 80 to 120 miles on your bike. So it's pretty physically taxing. So when doing these CrossFit workouts really was a good training tool for me to help me with my with my desert racing. So, and that's why I'm like, man, these things are working hand in hand together. So it was, something that, helped me a lot. And then with injuries are what ultimately took me out of dirt bike racing. But the only thing I've had a couple injuries in my life, with dirt bikes and just being an active guy. But the thing that still gets me today is a shoulder injury. I've had 3 shoulder dislocations over my life, and I've never had any surgery or anything like that. And I give it to CrossFit that's my biggest type of physical therapy, I should say, or not. That's helped me keep my shoulder health intact, because any orthopedic surgeon that I've ever been to with my shoulder dislocations has said, when I tell them I do CrossFit, they just like cringe and be like, "Oh, how do
Stop
you do
doing
that?"
that.
And stop doing CrossFit. Don't ever, don't ever have your shoulder or your hands. You always want to, like doing overhead squats or handstand push-ups or anything pressing overhead. That's just like a no-no for them. But I'm like, I've had 3 dislocations, and I've done CrossFit 5 days a week every single year since I was 19 years old, and I've never had that's never caused, I've never had my shoulder dislocate in CrossFit ever. And that's what, and I thank CrossFit too for helping me stay healthy, helping my shoulder health, and strength, because I don't want to go through surgery, and I want to do everything I can. And I mean, look at today, I can do most stuff, but yeah, do I not want to have when it comes to like muscle ups and stuff that I do, you might see me in the gym do like or pull ups, do a switch grip,
Yeah.
an underhand with my right side. That's my injured shoulder, and that's been a good way for me to feel more confident. With the CrossFit.
I see a lot of people do that.
Yeah, and I am the one that kind of started that at the gym. If you see that at the gym, I'm the one that people like, they'll ask me like, what'd you do, or why do you do the switch grip with your pull-ups? And I'm like, I've had some shoulder injuries in the past, some dislocations, and this has been the only thing that I can see that I can do that helps. Because in the dead hang and like a pull-up or a really pull up, it's weird why I can do like a bar muscle up and not have that thing feel like it's going to dislocate. But with the pull up, excuse me, doing that switch grip really helps. Like that seems like I can lock that shoulder into place and not have any feeling of having it slip out of the socket, because it's not a great feeling. But just some of the things that I've done to help me stay at this thing without having an injury, take me out of it. Because
fucking 14 years of CrossFit, dude.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's a long time.
Yeah, I mean, and we had a question. Gosh, I think a couple year ago or so, when Jacob does like a question of the day, and he's like, and he'll ask like, how long have you done CrossFit? And the majority of the people are a couple years, 1 year, less than a year, and then be like 14 years, so it's people are definitely like to see like people that have they ask you, it's cool that you stuck with it. And sure. I love CrossFit because I love the competitive aspect of it. I've been competing at dirt bikes for so many years, and this has been a great way to transition out of racing and competition and competing and getting to do it every single day. You're competing with yourself and with the gym, and the people that you're working out with at the gym, and keeps me motivated, and it keeps me going. So I love it,
and it's fun, man. I mean,
I love it, and I love the variation. Every single day is new. Every single day is. I've tried the whole working out by yourself in the gym, at home, and I have a garage gym, and have all the weights and the pull-up rig and everything, but it's just that you don't get the same workout. Me personally, some people might, but me personally, I love the community that CrossFit gyms bring. I love meeting, some of the best people, like-minded people at the gym, and you share all the same passion and, and everything. So working out by yourself just wasn't something that I thought when I transitioned out of Lombardi, because the membership there was you paid every semester, and I think every semester was like I forget the exact, it was like $150. Let's just say that $150 for a semester. That went a long time. It's not just by month. So I'm like, okay, CrossFit's super cheap here, but after I graduated, they stopped allowing alumni to get gym memberships. So I was forced to and I'm like, okay, I don't want to go to a CrossFit gym. That's stupid. I don't want to pay, CrossFit membership fees. I'm just going to buy a CrossFit gym or a garage gym. So I built out in my first house, I built out one of the garage spaces, the whole gym, mats, everything. And I, worked out and would do stuff, but I would find when I would work out by myself, I would program workouts that I liked.
Oh yeah.
And I was never going to get any better.
The stuff you're good
I
at.
liked certain things. I'd like, certain things. And I'm like, just the motivation was hard to do something that you didn't want to do. I mean, I had the rower, I had the bike, I had it all. And then I had a friend of mine get me into his CrossFit gym that he had started. And I told him, absolutely, I'll go. I don't, I'll support you. I'll support you. I'll come. And, I started going a few days a week and really liking the community aspect of CrossFit and getting to work out around other people. And then I started just going 5 days a week with him. But I always knew of Double Edge, and I always like, okay, I'm at this gym, but it's not, it's just not really. If I'm
stop right. What do you mean you always knew of Double Edge? Like what does that mean?
Well, because I had grown up, or I had started CrossFit with these, like Alvy, and I had known of Jacob and the people at the Double Edge South, and
is that like through because you knew Alvy and he worked?
Yeah, I knew that they were coaches or he was the coach at Double Edge, but I was going to another gym down the street, but Double Edge was always on my mind. It's like, this facility is so cool and it's so nice and big and just so well built and I mean, when I started CrossFit, and I don't know if they're still were called today, they were called CrossFit boxes, and so typical like CrossFit gyms were just in warehouse buildings, and so they would open up a garage door, and it's like you got this little like small little area to work out in, and that's kind of like how my first experience of CrossFit gym outside of UNR was, but then I looked at Double Edge and it's like, wow, this place has its own building, bathrooms, like it's so cool. And then I got my dad into CrossFit. I can't remember the year, but he's been doing it a few years now, and it was at our friend's gym, and we had a family health issue and health scare that happened, and I kind of had like a one-on-one talk with my dad. I'm like, Dad, you're getting older, and you're living a pretty sedentary lifestyle. I want you to, be here as long as possible, and and you don't really work out as much as like you used to. And it was his mom, my grandma, passed away overnight. Like, she was the healthiest lady ever, and she woke up one morning, had a heart attack, and died right there. And it was super, scary for the whole family, because we have a super small family. And you saw this lady that was the healthiest, drove every single day, went on daily walks, and but just like the little health scare that can pop up and just take anybody out at any time. And I just was, I think my dad really saw when his son came to him and said, Dad, I want you to come work out with me because I want you to start living a healthier lifestyle, because you used to work out and he got injured racing dirt bikes. He was the one that got me into racing. He got injured. He broke his leg. He actually broke both his hands one year and then broke a leg the year after and
From
stopped
racing?
From racing, yeah. And he used to work out and run. My dad, people at South know my dad. He didn't like running. He used to love running. He used to run a couple miles like every single day at Lakers Tennis Club, and he used to run all the time. But after his leg break, he had to have a plate put in his leg and stopped running, stopped working out, and just not, wasn't living a sedentary lifestyle, like I said. So I had him come to the gym with me, and we were going to this CrossFit gym every single day, and it was doing really well. And then we both just said, hey, you want to go try double edge out? We weren't happy at where we were.
Sure.
We weren't super happy with where we were. We didn't think we were getting a lot of value out of our dollar at our last gym. And so we went to double edge. Or so I remember doing our first, we went in and did our intro with, we did our intros with Joel back when he used to work at double edge.
Yeah, he did my intro too.
Yeah, and he knew my past and how much time I had at CrossFit, and he's like, you know what, we don't need to do any of this, and just got us right into the 4 o'clock class. And I mean, I think I've been at Double Edge now for 4 years and love every moment of it, and can never see myself anywhere else because it's such a great place.
I think it's got to be longer than 4 years, right? Because I've been there for 4.
I mean,
when did you start? You
I've
started
been doing it
me.
so long, it's just all a blur.
Well, it might be like 5, but
it might be 5 years now.
Yeah.
But 4 or 5 years that I've been there.
Yeah. And always 4 o'clock.
Always 4 o'clock. I've been 4 o'clock since at the prior gyms. Just
Is that when you go at like UNR too? Afternoon?
I think if I'm not mistaken, that was a class like that I did.
Yeah.
And when I first started out, I was 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's funny how like times changes where like, there would be like a Saturday class, I'll go to like 8 o'clock now, and just like dragging ass. Like I don't know how people work out early, and I don't know how people go to that 5:30, but I know 5:30 is different than 7:30, but still like the morning, I do so much better at 4 o'clock. And we've built such a great little 4 o'clock class. I mean, we have such great people there, I think, and
For sure, yeah.
and love it, so and I've got to see 4 o'clock, I mean, before COVID, we were quite, we had 25 people per class. We had some serious classes, and COVID kind of made that, caused that to fall away or fall off, and then, slowly building up to now we got some big classes again. And I enjoy working out with,
Can you see that?
yes, Jacob
Yeah,
has always, and go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, so it's good to, I mean, I was just going to read it because people that are listening, if they don't see this, but
Yeah.
So Lindsay asked, has Jacob always been your primary coach at Double Edge?
Jacob has always been my primary coach as Double Edge, and he is one of the biggest reasons of my success today. He is such a great coach with knowing my ins and outs, and that's one of the things I think he's so unique is he knows everybody, and why I think we are so lucky to have him as the 4 o'clock primary coach. He used to be just 4 o'clock only, and then when Joaquin left, it's 4, 5, and 6 now. But when we were, I'm like, wow, not only is 4 o'clock my time that I've always gone to, I also get Jacob as my coach, my primary coach, who is, I think, such a great weightlifting coach and CrossFit coach, and which is really neat because some people might be better at one or the other. I think he's really good at both, and knows each and every person's strengths and weaknesses, and which is really special to have for a coach.
Yeah, for sure. And he's awesome. I mean, everybody that knows him or has been to his class, has heard of him coaching, heard of him in general, I think everybody would agree with that.
Yeah, I think like when we do maxing with the coaches, when people like see, oh wow, Jacob is such a good weightlifting coach, it's like we get that every single day. And I don't think a lot of people understand like the quality of coaching that Double Edge has, and then Double Edge South specifically with Jacob. And I am grateful for it every single day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said, dude. That's a
Yeah.
good CrossFit story. Going back real quick, just your injuries. So you said you've had 3 shoulder dislocations.
Shoulder dislocations.
All from moto?
Only one actually. So in the summertime, my family and I spend a lot of time at our houseboat and do a lot of water sports. And when I was, I think, 16 years old, I had dislocated my shoulder for the first time doing a water sport, doing something behind our ski boat. And when it dislocated, I'll never forget that day. I remember popping up out of the water and just my shoulder was stuck. I couldn't move my arm. It didn't hurt. And all 3 of my dislocations, nothing ever hurt, but it's just like it's the weirdest feeling in the world to have a shoulder dislocate. And popped it back in. Actually, I remember with the boat circling around, I'm like, "Hey guys, I can't swim. My shoulder, something's going on with my arm." Got me out of the water, and nobody knew how to pop my shoulder back in. I didn't know what happened. I was young, didn't know didn't know. I've never had this injury before, and I remember I had 2 firefighters. I'll never forget that. 2 firefighters. So they have obviously EMT training and everything. They were on the boat. They were some friends of ours, some family friends were there. And 2 firefighters, they're like, try this. Nothing was having my shoulder pop in. And then finally, like 30 minutes later, there was another family there that had their daughter was a nurse, and the nurse was like, try this, and finally had my shoulder pop back in. But man, it's an injury that I'd rather break any bone than have a shoulder dislocation. It's
really?
Yeah, I've only had 2 other injuries. I've had my dirt bike injuries have been collarbone breaks, all on my right side. So I've had 3 right shoulder dislocations and 3 collarbone breakages of my right collarbone. So
Damn,
my right side is a little it pops, it makes all sorts of noises and stuff, and but again, all I do is CrossFit, and that thing is healthy. I mean, I guarantee you most orthopedic surgeons would say, how the hell are you not in surgery? And it's like, you know what, I CrossFit every day, and it's kept intact, and then I remember my second dislocation was a year after I was doing a water sport behind the tubing. I was on a tube.
Oh, dude,
the first little wave
never
we
ends
hit
well.
dislocated my shoulder, and it's like, God damn it! It takes so long. I don't know. For me, a shoulder dislocation has taken like weeks to recover before I'm even remotely healthy again. And I'm like saying remotely because it's a long-term injury that you live with every single day. And then I rehabbed my shoulder pretty darn well for years. Like, again, I dislocated my shoulder, and which ultimately took me out of dirt bike racing, was at the Virginia City Grand Prix. Oh man, I was in my 20s, mid 20s, racing, and dislocated my shoulder at the Virginia City Grand Prix one year. And I remember after it dislocating, knowing I'm done. I don't think I'll be able to come back from this, because it was just, I knew that it was kind of in the back of my head at all, leading up, but I had so many years of no dislocations that last time it happened, I remember riding back into the pits and being like, Dad, I dislocated my shoulder, and I don't know if I'll be able to do this anymore. And then I remember I tried to race like 2 weeks later, and it just wasn't the same. My shoulder was jacked up. So And I remember having that conversation with my dad because dirt bike racing was my life. That's all I did. That was my sport. People followed football, baseball, basketball. I dirt bike raced. I followed the supercross racers. I dirt bike raced, and having that conversation with my dad saying, I don't think I can race anymore. And he was super supportive. And, he was my pit crew growing up, and he and I shared this passion together and of dirt biking, and telling him I don't think I can race competitively anymore, which was hard because being a competitive expert level dirt bike racer, I couldn't confidently go into races anymore with a shoulder injury like this, and got out of racing and kind of was looking for my new, and that's when, time went, got introduced to CrossFit, and kind of found my new, competitive sport to do now. So,
Yeah.
And I love it.
Was that heartbreaking when you couldn't race anymore, or were you?
Oh, it was
like,
very, very much so. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
I told myself, this was such a big part of my life, and this injury, I don't want to go through surgery. Like, I know what that takes. My brother had shoulder surgery, and it was months, like almost all year for him to get better. And it's like, I just, you know what, if I can't race anymore, that's fine. I've been racing all my life. Like, I've got so many trophies. I've done what I've had to. And I think for the family, especially my mom, she was going to be happy with that, because she never,
always.
she supported me. She supported racing, but she, when I told her the day that I was going to stop racing, didn't hurt her feelings. So
Right.
we sold all the bikes, and I said, yeah, I don't think I'll ever be able to ride again. Yeah, I can't just go out there and trail ride. And that's changed. I don't have a bike anymore, but a few years ago I had a dirt bike, and tried to do the trail riding thing again. And I actually raced the Virginia City Grand Prix probably 4 years ago, and after probably 7 years of, or 4 years ago, but 3 years prior to that, I had quit. So I had a few years of and I just cold turkey raced it. And
Were you trying to just like casually race it, or were you like trying to go hard?
I was like, let's get back at it again. And
Okay.
I was like, the Virginia City Grand Prix is such a cool race, and if people have heard about that, it's we raced right through the town of Virginia City and all through the hills, and really neat thing, and raced then. But just as life goes on, and as you get older, it's just hard to dedicate all the amount of time it takes to ride right now. So for me, it's been sold the bikes and don't do it anymore. But I definitely want to get bikes again and get back on the saddle again. So
Get some seat time, dude.
Some seat time.
Last question on that is: were you did you give up racing? Like, so you were accepting of being done because were you afraid to hurt it more, or because you couldn't hang on to the handlebars anymore, or fast, or you couldn't jump anymore?
So with desert racing, which I specifically did, it's going fast through the desert. So we are, it's high speed stuff. It's no jumping. There's no air. That's why I like watching motocross and supercross today. It's like, man, those guys are crazy, because I don't understand how to jump. I tried motocross early on, but never enjoyed jumping big. And I'd rather go fast on the dirt or fast on the ground. And that's why I succeeded, or I did pretty well with desert racing. But with desert, you're going to have these whoop sections, these whoop-de-doos, as some people call them, and all throughout the course. Through your 50-mile-long course, you can have 50 miles of whoops, you can have 1 mile of whoop, but you never know what you're going to get in a race. And the biggest thing that I was noticing was when I would go through whoops, the bike would want to pull away from you. It would go back and forth. And when that bike would want to pull away from you, it had that feeling in my head like it was just my shoulder was going to keep going and dislocate. And it was really playing with my head, and it wasn't working out. in a dirt bike race, you cannot have, when you're competitive, you cannot have stuff like that bother you, because you're just never, it's, what's the point? So it was constantly, I was constantly thinking about it, constantly worrying about, worrying about it having to potentially dislocate. And I'm like, it was, I shouldn't say scaring me, but it was definitely on my mind, and it just wasn't working. So it's just like, what are we doing? So with having that constant fear caused me to, again, say this is probably time to call it quits.
Gotcha.
So
awesome. Right on, dude. What do you do for work? What is your what's your career? Like what is your title? I don't know.
It's something that most people would never think about, that a 33-year-old who's been doing this since I build, restore, and deal in classic cars, classic motorcycles, and everything that's antique that has an engine in it. I deal in. My business is solely online. I sell to buyers all over the world. I restore classic cars and deal in classic cars that are anywhere from like the 30s all the way up to now the 70s. I'm starting to get into. I'm currently building a 1973 Ford Bronco, completely restoring it to original.
Badass, dude.
Yeah, and then the motorcycles have always been like in my blood, and so those are specifically, I build bikes from Japanese motorcycles and some British motorcycles, and from the 1960s and 70s and some into the 80s. It's a very niche business that I'm in. I deal with people who are
probably collectors mainly, right?
40, 50, or just the age group. They're much older than me. And so when they hear me talking, because when we were talking on the phone to somebody, you don't know how old they are or what they look like. And then I'll get the occasion, how old are you? And they're like, wow, that's crazy that you know this much about such old cars, because it takes, not everybody can do what I do. You have to get into it, and it takes a lot of knowledge to accrue over years. And I started doing this in college. Actually, I built my first hot rod. I built my first car when I was in high school. It was my senior year of high school, and it was a 1936 International Harvester pickup, totally customized. And I would drive it to school, and not a single person knew what it was, but everybody loved it. Everybody was like, that's the coolest thing. And I had that car for like, 15 years or whatever. Drove it everywhere, and just started. My dad was always into cars. My dad and his friends always had old cars, and I'd always been involved with riding in old cars growing up. And then when I was in college, a friend of mine got me into like kind of like buying and selling stuff, old cars and parts and stuff from like the old parts from like there it is. That I built that when I was 16 years old or 17 years old.
Yeah. This is your first one here?
Yeah.
This thing is badass, dude.
So that thing went through a couple of different transformations over the years, but yeah, I built that. And so that's what got me into doing what I do today. So, and if people see like all the little parts that are involved with building stuff like that, I deal in stuff with. I help people find, and I find all these rare parts on this truck, like what you see, like the wheels and like that engine's super unique, and the stuff that goes in that engine. I also sell parts to people that will build a car like that. And so it's super unique. And again, I started doing it as a hobby in college and making money at it, because I was actually going to go into physical therapy in college, and went through my undergrad thinking I might want to do physical therapy, and just wasn't for me. I just didn't like it. I interned. I tried to do it, and I had a bunch of hours into interning with physical therapists, and just, that's not what I get up every day and want to do, and I want to build cars like that. So that is what I do, and I do it every single day, and it's I'm a one-man band. I get my dad, as you can see a theme with this. I spend a lot of time with my dad. He's
For
like
sure,
one of my
dude. That's
best
awesome.
friends, and he helps me. He's now semi-retired and loves helping me wrench on cars and build cool cars like that. So, and then we build bikes too. So I deal in a lot of bikes. I do definitely more bikes, motorcycles today than cars because just for space reasons, I can have the square footage of a single car garage, for instance. You can have a lot more motorcycles in a garage that you can build than one car. So I've definitely had more focus in building old Japanese motorcycles today than anything. So
Well, what would you say like the average? So like, say I come to you and okay, so let's this is how the interaction works. I find you online or whatever it is. How would I even find you?
So you're gonna find a listing that I have for sale. I don't build anything for anybody. I
Oh,
will
okay.
find a car.
I
I'll
can't
find
request something from you.
No,
Got
you
it.
could, but I'm not gonna do it
Okay.
because it just takes away from my profit because I don't need to charge an hourly rate because I know that I can take a motorcycle and have the hard cost of the motorcycle, put the restoration costs into it, and then sell it for X, whatever that might be. And every motorcycle, every car is different. So it's just way easier for me to do it that way, and then having somebody say, "Hey, can you build me this?"
Okay.
Because I can do it myself, and I can maximize the profit that way,
That
and
makes
then
sense.
only charging somebody because they're going to want an hourly rate and everything. So, and it's just easier. So, but
Do you have like inventory, or is like you
I
have
do.
one and then you sell one, you have one, you sell one, you have one, you sell one?
I have a ton of inventory,
Like
and that's
so like you have 10 cars on deck right now, like something like
Yeah.
that, or
something like that.
Okay.
It's all, and a lot of them are in storage because that's almost like how I do my. That's where my investments go. I buy all the cars, motorcycles, all those things go up in value every single day, regardless of whether or not they are get restored or not. So I purchased a motorcycle for $500 5 years ago. Well, that thing is now worth, you know, it depends. It can be worth $2,000, $5,000, $10,000. It just depends on what it is. So I just have so much stuff in storage that I know that are going to be future projects of mine that are kind of like my savings account that I tap into, and that's what I work on. Just
how do you know which one is going to be the next one? Just like, oh, I want to do this one, you just pick?
I kind of pick and choose. Yeah, I'll pick and choose. I might just get a hair, be like, yeah, let's do this one now, or I might find a new car tomorrow that I might drop everything and say that's when I focus. I won't drop everything, but I'll finish what I'm doing, and then that will be now my next project. So stuff kind of changes up, but I've known over the years, like I might be a little scatterbrained. I might have like 4 projects going at once, and that just doesn't work well. I'll have to like focus on one particular thing at a time because that's what the most efficient and what actually gets done. Because there's too many people out there today there's other people that do what I do, and they have too much stuff going on, and stuff never gets built. So
Yeah. Okay, so then let's say what's the average timeline? Obviously, I'm sure it's very variable because the parts
it varies
and
a
stuff.
lot. Yep, it
But
varies
like
a lot.
6 months to a year or
No,
5 years?
so like say this Ford Bronco that I'm doing, it got a complete interior restoration. It doesn't need paint, but a complete interior restoration and mechanical overhaul, and that is currently being done right now. And so that whole process, I'm hoping to have that car done, interior just finished up. My dad helped me. We finished it. There's little odds and ends that need to get finished up, and then waiting on an engine that the original engines get rebuilt. It's supposed to be done anytime, so hopefully we'll have that thing on the road. You might be seeing me in the gym here in the next month, driving it. So that's one other thing that I love what I do is because I get to build also cool cars that I get to drive. So
And keep if you want to.
and keep and enjoy and then sell and make and for a profit and move on to the next thing. So I get really I never hold on to anything too much because it's like, oh, there's always something else that I can build and something else that I can do. And so, because I love the history of old cars and just how many variations of old cars that were built over the years. And that's why I said, like, I'm starting to now build 70s cars because they are, I first got into 30s, like you saw that car that I'd done. Yeah, see that Corvette? That's my dad and I did that. We still have that car. That's a
sick,
66. Dude. That's a 66 Corvette Stingray. That is all original, and that's where I specifically like our cars or anything in our personal collection or what I deal in is original. That's original paint, original wheels, original interior, and I don't have too many pictures out there. Unfortunately, I wish I could pull them up, but I have them on my phone. But of stuff that I do. But yeah, that's just another example of because that, again, being a later model car like that, you can actually drive that thing and enjoy it. Because the 1930s stuff that I really first got into, top speeds on cars were 30, 40 miles an hour, and that's all you needed to do back in the day. And when your car tops out at 35 miles an hour, that's really hard to drive in today's world. So that's why my focus has definitely been on the later model, let's just say 50s on up now, because they're way more drivable. The drivability of cars like that are more fun for sure.
Do you ever share with like how much something like this would go for if you sold it?
So,
or is that like secret?
No, it's where I've focused my work today is doing stuff that's original, like for instance this Corvette, because this car in original condition is worth almost as much as what a restoration would cost. And if you were to restore that car, it would cost you so much money, you would be upside down in it. So keeping it original and not painting it and not doing chrome but finding a good example of maybe having to just kind of like refresh it, like put new brakes, and this got a rebuild on the engine. And but again, paint jobs cost so much today where you can spend $20,000 on a paint job. Well, that car is worth probably $60,000 today, as is. But to restore something like that, it's gonna cost you, like I said, you might be 20 grand into a paint job alone. So when you start adding paint job, chrome, this, that, you're gonna just be in hard costs, like as much as what an original car costs today. And people way more enjoy collecting original cars today than they did in the past. So, and as the saying goes, is like, they're only original once. So again, everything that I do is all kept in original condition, mostly. Some get restored, some don't. And again, that's why it varies. It just depends. So,
do you think that, or like not? I mean, it sounds like you could like see something on the street and you could like give a dollar value pretty close to it.
Yes.
Or like that. Really? You think you're pretty good at that?
Like my dad and I love just like driving around and like going through like alleyways and stuff and finding stuff, because I know values. I've learned values over the years of how to know what I can buy something for and resell it after the work is put into it. So but yeah, so
yeah, and that's like a specialty. That's kind of why you can do it at your job, right? Like if you can do that, then you know what the turn or the return's going to be. Or
right, I couldn't just have you go out there and be like, "Hey, Cody, go." You need to know what stuff's worth and what you can buy stuff for and what you can resell it for. Because yeah, if you don't, you can make some stupid purchases and be underwater real quick. So, I've honed that skill, already. So, which is nice.
So is there a lot of, it's like, to me, it sounds like there's a lot of like sifting through a bunch of junk to find gold,
for sure,
right?
We've, there's a show on History Channel called American Pickers.
I used to love that show. I used to watch it all the time.
If people have watched that, that's totally kind of what I don't do that, but I kind of been in situations like what you might see, like, these more or less, I don't want to call them hoarders because there's not just like filth and like literal garbage around, but people that have like these lifelong collections that you dig through, and they've had these cars and motorcycles and memorabilia and parts that they've collected for years, and you are sifting through stuff that you may not know. You'll there's obviously stuff that you do know, but there's also stuff that you don't know too, and that's why my knowledge is constantly changing or building up on itself because maybe one of these days I might know everything about everything on cars, but until that day, I'm always learning about stuff and not because stuff always has a value. I see value in so much out there, and yeah, so
That's awesome, dude. Do you think is this going to be something you do for the rest of your life?
hope so. I
I mean,
enjoy it.
yeah.
I don't feel like I work every day, so that's what they say. If you don't, if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. So
That's right,
I
dude.
feel I
Boom.
love I love Monday through Fridays. Let's just say that. I wish I could do this 7 days a week.
Yeah,
I
that's
could
awesome.
be out
Man.
in the garage working, but my outside of that would suffer greatly. So it's like you got to have a work-life balance.
Oh,
So
for sure. Yeah.
but I thoroughly enjoy working and I don't get my hands dirty on a daily basis, but I also don't mind it either. So
And you started this like because your dad was good with cars and stuff too?
oh yeah. So we'll go back at that.
Yeah,
I was doing
just
this
real quick.
in college, just doing it as a hobby, just making some just side money, doing and then it's kind of like thought that the if the physical therapy thing didn't happen, like maybe I can do this if I do this full time. Maybe I can make a living at it. And my parents were supportive. They definitely were unsure at first, but they saw me really enjoying what I do and making some money at it. And they're like, you know what, we support you thoroughly. And, they've, everyone that's been behind me, all my friends and family, they've all been, definitely supportive of it. So, because it's being like a little small business owner, running your own deal is hard. You have to be motivated because I can get up on any day of the week and be like, I don't want to work, but which is nice. I don't have to work. So, I can be kind of lazy certain days, but also when I'm being lazy, I'm also not making any money. So the more time I put into work, the more money, there's a direct inverse of the more time I'm working, the more money I'm making. So,
Yeah,
and
right.
I can, so yeah.
It's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That's it's not something that people would be able to guess about you or
Absolutely not. Yep.
which I think it's
When
so
I get
unique.
somebody that you meet for the first time, they're like, "What do you do?" And they're like, "Wow, that's so cool." Almost 100% of the time when I tell somebody what I do, their first reaction is, "Wow, that is so cool." So
Yeah.
it's kind of neat, So because I think a lot of people do jobs that they don't exactly love, and I kind of feel bad for them because I love what I do, and I hope my kids eventually, when I want them to be passionate about their job, and I am passionate about what I do every day, and that's a unique thing to find, I think, because not everybody out there can do what I do, granted, because it
Hmm.
has taken time, but I've had the opportunity to have this time and to build something that's great, so that I love.
Has there ever been an opportunity like that you were ever approached by like a TV show or anything like that where you could I feel like you could have a TV show or something like this. Like this is like a special
My
like Counts Customs or whatever. Like it's like the same type of thing, right?
right. I again, my mom's been my biggest supporter of throughout most things in life, and she's always been like, you and your dad shoid have a TV show,
Dude,
with doing
for
what
sure.
you do, with like going out and doing, and it's like, I don't think of myself as an interesting guy, nor is my dad. So we're like, we don't obviously, who would want to watch us? But yeah, there's definitely no. We've never had any like opportunities.
Okay.
We've had some top. I've been in numerous magazines. I've had cars in magazines before, and had contributions to magazines in the
That's
past.
perfect.
But
Brings me right to what I was going to bring up next. That
so
so if you just Google your name, this photo comes up, and I thought it was hilarious. Do you know what photo I'm gonna pull up?
Oh, I know exactly what photo. Yep, that's it.
Dude.
I may. Was this?
Well, there's
So
the
this is
car,
in
obviously.
Bonneville. Right.
Well, what is this? What is this promotion? Why does this
so
exist?
Funny. It says Sports Illustrated Classic. What is that?
Dude, look at
This
your
is
hair.
This is for a magazine. Yeah.
July
No.
10th, 2013.
So that truck of mine has been in a bunch of magazines. So, which was cool.
Okay,
This is a
why?
funny
Like,
photo.
why? Just because it's super special? I mean, obviously, I don't know anything.
Yeah,
but
because it's
just
special.
cool.
You know, it's unique, and that's, a lot of people copied that. Like that, the way that's built. There's definitely other cars out there that people built that have copied that design.
Really?
It's just
Okay.
the way it looks, the way it sits, the certain parts that are on it. Those wheels are really unique on that car, on that truck, and I was the pioneer of a lot of that stuff, and seeing, like, again, what year is this?
July 10th, 2013. It's right here. I don't know if you can see it that well, but 2013. It says 2013 Bonneville Speed Week. Posing in front of your 1936 Ford International during photo shoot at Bonneville Salt Flats Racetrack, Wendover, Utah.
Yeah, so we used to
And it's Sports Illustrated, like you said.
I don't know what that is, because I don't think that shot was never for Sports Illustrated, which is weird. But
Really? Okay.
that's kind of funny how that gets pulled up. Yeah, that was for a car. That was for a Hot Rod magazine.
I just thought it was so
And
funny.
that was one of many times, like, that particular truck has been featured in a magazine. I don't know if they put me in there with no shirt on, which
Yeah,
is kinda
probably
funny,
not. But
yeah.
hey, it's a good photo.
Yeah.
Do you talk to, like, the owners after you sell it, like, or you, like, stay in contact with them? Or is it, like, never a thing?
I wish I did, because there's definitely been cars that I missed that I
You'd be like,
don't
hey,
have
like, you know,
anymore.
yeah, exactly. How?
That I don't have anymore, that I'm like, I wish I could buy stuff back. I'm okay with having that car gone because it's not very comfortable to drive. But I got into Volkswagens, old 1960s Volkswagens, really hard and heavy, some years back, and I built a Volkswagen bus, a split window bus, the really cool hippie wagons, hippie vans that people drive around, that you'll see, and I built a few of those over the years, but one specific one that I used to drive every single day, but I sold, again, I do this for a living too, so I can't keep stuff forever either. So I sold it and bought the house that I'm in now. That's one of the helped put sold that, because I bought it for X and sold it for, X amount of dollars after that, and it went up in value, and sold it, and again took the profits and put that into the down payment of the house I'm in now. So I had to make the adult decision to move on, and it's like those little things that build up, and now I'm in this beautiful house that I'm in now. And again, it's all hard work. That it's not like it just got given to me. I had to put a lot of work in, and put the work in to make that thing something that somebody else would want to buy from me. So
next step, you're getting married soon.
Getting married soon.
That's exciting,
absolutely.
Dude. Congrats.
Yeah, you and me both.
I know, dude. A month after each other. It's awesome, dude.
Absolutely. Yep.
This was a long time in the making, huh?
Yes, it was. Yep. Met my fiance, Robin. Some of you.
Yeah. How'd you meet Robin?
Met her at the gym. So
really,
not only do you meet your potential future spouse, but you also meet, like I said prior, you meet good people, good friends, and you might meet your forever partner too.
That's right. That's what I do.
You and I,
yeah.
And actually, there's a lot of people that you start, like, seeing the people at the gym that meet their, their future wife or husbands, and it's like, wow, look at what the gym can,
Well, it makes sense, right? Like, because you guys are there, you guys see each other all the time. like-minded, working hard, probably have like this, similar type of beliefs to be able to
For sure.
want to change
Living
your
a healthy
health and your
lifestyle.
fitness.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Right. Sometimes you see them in less clothing than normal, so that might help too, right? Like,
I always say with Robin, I always used to work out in front of her, so it must have been, it was the vice versa.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Take your shirt off, right?
Every single day she'd come, and I don't know, I don't think it was every single day, but those days when I would see you, I would never forget, like, pulling up to class, be like, oh, look at that white car, and it was Robin's, and,
Oh,
it was
that's
always
cool.
being like the highlight. She used to live up in Truckee, during that time when we met, and I remember we'd always talk after class and walk out together, and God, it was just we talked for ever weeks and months and whatever, and then she was the one that made the first. She initiated. She's like, hey,
Really?
you want to go snowboarding? And that was our first like quote unquote date that we went on, and what are we 4 years later?
That's awesome, dude.
4 or 5 years later, we're getting married. So yeah, we're getting married in Cabo in September.
Right,
Yep,
yeah, it's
yep.
awesome. It's coming up quick, dude. 6 months away.
For sure. It's gonna be great. Super excited and can't wait.
That's so funny. I didn't know Robin made the first move, but it totally makes
She
sense.
did, yeah.
knowing her.
We
Of course
joked
she
about
did.
that. Yeah.
That's
It
awesome,
was
dude.
funny. Yeah, I'll never forget one of the first times I was like uncertain, like if she was like dating anybody, and I'll never forget the first day I'll never forget, it was Valentine's Day one day, and I'm like, I got nothing going on. I'm just, it's like we would talk every single day, and we were stretching. I remember we would always stretch after class, and we were stretching. It was like, oh, here's a good time to see if she's got any like plans and if she's dating anybody. I was like, and I asked her if she was going to be seeing any, or if she had any plans for later on in that day, and she's like, no, I'm just going home. I'm like, huh, okay, maybe she is single. And then next thing you know, she's asking me to go snowboarding, and again, look where we are now.
That's awesome, man. Great story. I love it.
So yeah.
Remember this? We were just talking about this today.
We were.
This is our RTO team from 2019 when I first started the gym. Did you know any of these people other than like our group?
I only knew Lindsay, and I did not.
Obviously, I didn't either. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was such a great time. I loved the RTO, and that was one of my fondest memories of just,
You had done it before this, right? This was like your second or third time?
I've done it before, but this time was different because we had a much more competitive team. Like, I remember our other van, like, I remember Lindsay was like, yeah, these guys are all like, I remember that she was saying
they were
like, what they
studs.
can run per mile, their mile time. I'm like, why do they want us? We're just a couple of guys from CrossFit that, yeah, we're fit, but like, we're not runners. I'm not a runner. Like, I'm still not a runner today.
Dude, not at all. I had been doing fitness I've been doing CrossFit for 4 months at this point, 5 months maybe.
Yeah. So,
but these kids were all like cross country and shit.
And I still say today, like, if I had that opportunity to do it again, I'd do it again. Absolutely. Like, I promote that to people. Like, if you've never done RTO, because it's a competition. It's also got, like-minded people that you're working out with, and it just brings back kind of like a CrossFit type of a mentality and just a good time. And, you'll finish that workout and just, be high on, dopamine, and just like, this was so much fun, but it was so hard at the same time.
Exactly.
Look at that.
Yeah, I only knew you and Lindsay too, and then obviously like we met Jeremy and Jesse because they were with us, but I didn't.
Right, we had been up for.
Oh, look at that! Minnesota. Damn.
Virginia City. Jeez, that's good. Good times. Yeah, we hardly even knew you then.
I know. I
knew of you. Like, we knew each other, but nowhere near like what
exactly.
we are today.
Exactly. It was just like we went to 4 o'clock and I just started, and Lindsay's like, "Hey, you want to be on this RTO team?" And I was like,
right.
"Sure." I don't know what that means, or like I don't know what it's gonna be like, but let's just fucking do it.
Good times. Running 15 miles, and I said, like yesterday, I was talking to Steve. I'm like, man, that was 15 more miles than I had ever run before in my life.
Me
And,
too.
but I had like 3 5-mile legs, and hated but enjoyed every bit of it.
Yeah, it was like it kind of sucks while you're doing it, like mainly because you can't sleep, right? You're fucking tired. You're basically up for 24 hours.
That's the hardest part. Yeah, it's like,
but otherwise, it's just like you just do it. You just run.
You're running at like 11 o'clock at night or 4 in the morning, and it's like I should not be out here doing this, but you're doing it for the race that comes once a year, and you got a team that's counting on you. So
I kind of want to just close it out with some bad touch highlights. Have you listened to this one already? Have you
love them. Oh yeah,
dude, they're so funny.
Another Kickstarter held up on the podium, but it's Ken Roczen out to an early lead. Sexton around Roczen into P1, rocking the visor on his helmet, something we haven't seen for a while. But we got a battle going on for the final transfer spot. It's Kyle Chisholm coming into Cartwright every chance he gets. Cartwright gives him a gift and washes the front end, but Chisholm can't avoid it and goes down with him. Cartwright picks his bike up, pushes a button, and cruises off into the main.
Good.
Roczen fanboys are silent. 450 LCQ, Chisholm out by 4 bike lengths, but manages to get 6 around the first turn. Red flag. Must have been a bad crash. Let's see what's going on. Nope, the fucking gate just bounced up and everyone made it over fine anyway. The restart looks exactly the same as the first one as Josh Hill skips past Justin Starling quicker than his wife swap episode. Kyle Chisholm in for the 450 LCQ
what
win.
Is that?
450 main, honestly one of the best main events I've ever seen, but we got AC9 with the whole shot now to an early lead. Couple of tall guys out front, so the comments coming in. We finally get to hear it when Plessinger goes by Cinderella in the whoops, and Ricky says he gets to use his long legs. All the fast guys are bunched up early in the moto, so Barsh is about to go on a bam-bam spree, getting it started off early on Adam Cinderella right here. Tomac even showing some rare signs of aggression on the red plate holder Paul Webb, and Webb gets him right back a couple corners later. Webb and Tomac playing cat and mouse, and Barsh is foaming at the mouth back there looking at all these doors being left open. Cowie's marketing team thinks they're going to get some free content right here with both riders side by side until Anderson gets bucked off the front. Barsha coming up the inside of Sexton, but Sexton pushes right back, treading lightly, making sure he doesn't end up with the Mike Metzger look for the 18th race in the row. 450 Heat 2, me praying we don't get in.
Oh, man. So good.
These are so good.
Yeah. Shout out Bad Touch Supply. Shout out Alex. He does the Supercross highlights. They're fucking hilarious. Good. Buy Bad Touch gloves.
Every week he does the 250 and 450s.
Dude, they're so funny. What are your thoughts on the season so far? Just like overall takeaways.
I love Eli Tomac, and man, it's weird right now. It's a weird. The 250 East, best racing right now. 250 West, I think they're racing in Seattle on Saturday. 250 West is a little boring because Jet is dominant and nobody else can touch him. And I know East was kind of the same, but Deegan and he's put some on the East. He's for the 250s. Just that's there. You never know what's going to happen for that. And then the 450s, it's always a good time to watch. But yeah, Tomac's in this weird little slump that he's in, and hopefully he'll pick it up because I'd love to see him win this championship.
Do you think he will?
I think he will.
Yeah, he's if you had to put money on it right now, would he win?
He's got 50 wins for a reason. He knows what he's doing. I just think they got bike issues. They got bike issues to figure out as people that I follow, and James Stewart and everybody that says, he looks like old Eli Tomac back in the Kawasaki days where he'd just kind of ride around and look uncomfortable on a bike. But, he did really well he's already won 5 races so far, and, nowhere near, no one else has come close to that. So, hopefully, I know he's only 3 points behind Webb right now. It's super close, but I think he'll win. I think he knows how to win, and he's going to do what he needs to do to win this championship because he's not got much longer.
Yeah, I think he's probably this last year, right? And he wants to obviously go out.
You know what's interesting? Like, there was just this week he was interviewed, and it's going to be confirmed. I think this month. I think they said it was for the re-signing potentially. Because he's going to finish out the motocross series, which was not supposed to happen. And then they talked about 2014, and they said he didn't say no, but he also didn't say yes. So
Okay, keeping it in the up in the
hoping,
air.
you never know. You never know. Right now it doesn't look like he's having a whole hell of a lot of fun, which sucks. But because I think the wins are a lot harder than they used to be. So
Yeah,
which
there's a lot of competition. Everybody's good. I mean,
everyone's good, and it's hard to be that much better than somebody who's the best in the world too. You
Yeah.
know, so when they're all the best in the world, it's hard to be that much better than the next guys. So
I think it can go either way. But like if he loses this year, maybe he definitely doesn't retire because he doesn't want to go out with a loss and he wants to come back and redeem himself. But
I
he
could
could
see
just be
that.
like, but maybe then he's also like, well, that was it. Or the other side, if he wins, then he wants to go out on top and doesn't want to.
There's definitely two sides to that because it's like, how do you want to go out on top? But if he would have gone out on top, that would have been last year because he damn near had a perfect season last year.
Yeah, and he was
Supercross,
about
motocross the nations. But then he goes this year, and this year's been more difficult for sure. But yet, he also makes a bunch of money too. Maybe he doesn't need that money, but there's not the drive or the want like some of the new up and coming people have, or like the Aaron Plessinger last week that's never won a race before. He wants to win so bad, and Tomac is like, he's riding smart. He's not riding over his head to crash, because he knows there's the big picture at the end. But yet you've got these guys that all they want to do is win, like the Chase Sexton, and they're doing everything they can to win, where it doesn't seem like he's doing that right now, and he's got to figure that out. But I have faith in the guy that he's going to figure it out. But there's definitely guys that seem to want it a little bit more than him.
Is Chase like your number 2 for favorite?
Chase my number 2 for sure.
Yeah.
Webb, no way.
I know. I don't like Webb either.
I'm not a Webb fan. Nope.
Me neither. I know he's good. I respect that, but I'm just not a fan of him.
I respect that he's good, but I'm not a fan. I don't like him off the track. Yeah, he's a good rider, but man, off the track, you gotta. Some people might say Tomac's not got the best person.
I was gonna say,
but
people will say that exactly, to you about Tomac, like he's just boring. Especially Alex. Alex says that all the time, but yeah, I mean, Tomac is boring. He's not Anderson or Barsha. He just he runs, as Ricky says, he gets his lines, whatever he says, and just he gets dialed in.
Yep, and he
hits his marks.
Has his little compound in Colorado, and that's where he trains and does everything. You never see anything about him during the week, but he had a thing on Instagram. He was riding in the mud this week, which is kind of cool. But he's out there actually like putting in the work when it's really easy to say, yeah, no, I don't want to ride today, type of a thing. But he's my guy, and until I've liked how dominant he's been, and he's up there with James and Ricky Carmichael for the overall wins, and that's a pretty special place to be. So
yeah, I think
he's going to be second overall, and yeah, he'll be second for sure.
He'll pass James, yeah.
He'll never be first because that's like 20 points from Jeremy McGrath, but he already 20 wins.
Jeremy has like 72 or something.
He'll have to be racing for a few more years, which is not out of the picture, but not out of the realm because he's only 30. Eli Tomac is, but to be at that top level is pretty demanding.
Oh yeah,
can't even imagine the stress and the pressure that those guys.
I don't see him going for more than next year if he's not done.
Yeah. If anything, it's gonna be 2014, and that's a maybe. But
exactly,
it'll be exciting to see him race this summer in motocross, because that's I think that's when the real speed, and it definitely takes skill to do what they do in Supercross, but man, doing what they do in motocross is a whole another level.
Yep.
The speed in the race and what they do, it's crazy. I love it. Love watching it.
Yeah, it's fun to watch on TV, right? Like going to outdoor, but like in person.
Oh, outdoors, and
just
like
not
going
fun in person.
Going to a Hangtown. I've raced at Hangtown. That's the first race they do every year. I've raced on that race or that racetrack. Watched racing, and the TV doesn't do it justice. Like how fast they're going, and how big the jumps are, and how gnarly everything is. It's insane, and that's why I really, it's just unfortunate because there's no money in motocross, and there's no money, so none of those guys it just doesn't pull the, the contracts and like it's so hard to follow it during the summer because like it's on some weird channel, like one moto's on one channel and the other moto's on another, like Nav TV, and some other channels got the first moto, and it's just hard to follow. But thank God for social media because they'll follow it that way. But it's a little harder to follow for sure because
it is kind of strange how it there's no coverage, like good coverage.
Oh, the coverage is terrible.
Yeah.
And I mean, Supercross still has its challenges. I mean, Supercross still isn't, prime time, but it's definitely better than what it used to be for sure.
$5 on Peacock.
It's all it is.
I know, which is great. Thank God.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you had to pay like $60 or something a year for NBC Gold or whatever it was. NBC
God,
Sports
before that
Gold,
used to be
like
on Speed Network or Speed Channel or whatever.
Speed. Oh my God, Speed.
Remember
Fuel TV?
Fuel TV had all just action sports stuff on it, but and that's why I think like my like childhood and growing up is so different than like that's all I watched. All I watched was motocross and supercross and that stuff. I never followed football, never did any of that, and that's why, like, when people try to have football conversation, I'm like, I don't know anything about football. I can talk to you, and that's like, my God, we're an hour and a half into this, and just talking about motocross and CrossFit and stuff, and all just, my life.
Goes by quick, dude.
It goes by quick, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, well, on that note, we can wrap it up. I think this was a good episode and
great episode. Loved being on it. Loved having the opportunity.
Dude, thank you. Well, yeah, thanks for being here. It's awesome to have you on, and you had an awesome story. Like, I learned a bunch of stuff that I didn't know about you. And
I've been at it a long time and seen, and you know what? And that's what I love. Like where I'm at today is love seeing the up and coming people. Because I was once there and I had the struggles and I overcame those. And at the end of the day, it's just hard work. Put in the dedication at the gym, and you'll get so many positive, outcomes because of it. You'll get to see, I love seeing people today get their first muscle up or their first, pull up or whatever, you name it, getting there first. I love seeing that today because, again, I was once there, and, I love to support people today and see people succeed and love something that I so dearly love, is CrossFit because it's changed my life. It's changed my life, and it's such a big part of my life. So, and again, I thank Double Edge every day, and Jacob every day, and the people around Double Edge in the community.
Yep. All right, y'all. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. That's episode 8 with Ryan Hamel. Hamilto8 on Instagram if people wanna find you, right? And give you a follow.
Childhood nickname.
That's a good nickname, by the way.
Yeah, it was a brother's friends. They started it, and then that just slowly, trickled down to me, Hamilton. So
Lindsay says, "Good job, Ryan."
Yeah, thanks, Lindsay.
Thanks for hanging with us, Lindsay. Thanks for listening, guys. Go give Ryan a follow. Leave me a review. I don't know, any comments on what you want or what you thought of Ryan's story, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for being here, Ryan. I'll see you later, bro.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Have a good night. See you guys. Peace.